Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Leslie Lopez, Director of Mission Advancement, and on behalf of Maryknoll lay missioners, welcome to our first annual leadership meeting. Today's presentation is for you, our loyal supporters. We heard you. Many of you responded to our recent donor survey. There was a question on the survey that asked, do you have a good sense of the overall impact that your support was able to have last year in 2020? Many of you answered yes. Some answered no, and others said somewhat. We want each of you to be able to say and answer yes, and to understand the importance and the impact that your prayers and your financial contributions make every year. Because together, as partners in mission, we make a tremendous difference. We transform lives and bring hope to many individuals and families in Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And for this, we are deeply grateful. Thank you. We have a fantastic program for you today. You will hear from our lay missioners and leadership, sharing about history, current affairs, and an insight to what's unfolding in the future for Maryknoll lay missioners. And then we will joyfully announce our timely and ambitious Walk With Us campaign. First, I'd like to introduce Father Bill Voss. Bill will bless our gathering with an opening prayer. Many of you know that Bill served many years as an associate priest member serving in Eastern Africa. And then he chaired the board of directors for a number of years. Bill continues to be actively involved with Maryknoll lay mission. Father Bill.
And greetings, everyone. Thank you, Leslie, and I'm very happy, and it's a privilege to lead all of you who have decided to join us this evening with an opening prayer. You know, whenever we gather as faith-based folks like we are, it is really important that we begin by acknowledging that we are indeed in the presence of a loving, caring God. And so I'd invite all of you now who are participating in our webinar to just pause and become more conscious, more fully aware that we are indeed in the presence of a loving God. So gracious God, as we gather this evening, we're mindful that we are separated by great distances, but at the same time, we have a strong bond of solidarity where people who have responded through our baptism to serve you, each and every one of us, with our various gifts and abilities. Particularly, we are mindful at this moment that you have called us to participate in mission, the mission of Jesus, the incarnate one, the one you sent, so that we might come to know your unconditional love and to appreciate the great gift that Jesus came to bring to our world, to our global family. Thus, each and every one of us are acknowledging at this very moment that we are participants in his mission. Inspired by your Spirit, we ask that our time together this evening might be a moment of grace and inspiration for each and every one of us, so that we may more fully appreciate our role in particular in enabling lay women and lay men from the U.S. Catholic Church to participate full-time with their lives in global mission. And we ask for this grace and we pray with confidence because we do so through Christ our Lord. Amen. And now it's an honor for me to introduce the leadership of Maryknoll Missioners. It was in June 4 years ago that the Maryknoll Missioners was in need of a new executive director. And I was privileged to be on the hiring team. And we had many wonderful candidates, one of whom came to us, Ted Miles. And we decided he was an ideal fit for our organization. First of all, Ted had a stint in mission as a Jesuit lay missioner in Belize, but then he spent most of his professional life in faith-based organizations, particularly in areas to engage youth and young adults in the relationship with church and mission. And I would say also what was very attractive was the record he had of his leadership style, collaborative leadership, what we, and I feel fits well with Maryknoll, a servant leadership, plus his commitment to Catholic social teaching. For example, much of his work was in the area of promoting advocacy of various issues that affected the U.S. or that engaged the U.S. Catholic Church. So these past 4 years with Ted at the helm confirms our decision to hire him. I might add, in particular during this last year of mentoring the organization through this pandemic, a very challenging moment in the history of Maryknoll Missioners to figure out how we can continue to maintain our laymen and women in mission during this trying time. And then we are very blessed as well to have as our Director of Missions, Marge Humphrey. Marge, of course, years ago was mentored by one of the great giants in the U.S. Catholic Church when she lived at the Catholic Worker House on the Lower East Side, including with Dorothy Day herself. Now, Marge is a physician assistant, and she spent her mission time, the better part of 20 years, in Western Kenya and in Sudan, South Sudan during that very protracted civil war. Really a marvelous, marvelous presence of the healing of Christ, Jesus Christ, the healer. And that's a gift I think Marge really has, that compassionate, caring, healing gift. Marge, after many years in mission, decided she needed to take a stint back home to care for her aging parents. And when their dear mom and dad passed away, Marge came back to us. So in 2016, she was asked to take over the position as Director of Missions, which she continues to do, caring primarily that role, caring for all of our missioners in the field. And so with that, I'm very pleased to present Ted and Marge.
Thank you, Bill. I don't think either one of us have ever had an introduction like that, and we stand in awe of all that you have done for us over the years. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for that introduction. And welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us today, and what an honor to share this moment with you. Our mission statement describes the lay missioner as inspired by the mission of Jesus to create a more just and compassionate world. And isn't that true for all of us gathered here today? Indeed, we all come inspired by the mission of Jesus, and we all hope for and work towards a world of compassion, love, and God's justice. So truly, we are so grateful that you share this dream with us and have journeyed with us through your prayers and support.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. And Bill, thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. Wasn't expecting that. It's a great privilege for me to have served so many of those years in East Africa with you. So thank you. Okay. I'd like to join Ted and Father Bill with a warm welcome and expression of gratitude to each of you for coming tonight. as they said, I served as a lay missioner for most of my 25 years in Kenya and South Sudan. So I know very well that none of us could not have done or continue to do what we do without your generous support, your prayers, and your great generosity. So thank you all very, very much. Since all of you have joined us at various points and times in our history, we thought it might be helpful to give you a glimpse of where we've been, where we currently are, and what we're kind of looking at for the future. Maryknoll Lay Missioners really stands on the shoulder of giants, specifically the Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers and the Maryknoll Sisters. In later years, we've enjoyed great support and encouragement from the Maryknoll affiliates as well. In the years following the Second Vatican Council, Maryknoll took very seriously the Council's teaching that, quote, the whole church is missionary, and the work of evangelization is a basic duty of the people of God, end quote. So in 1975, Maryknoll Lay Missioners was founded, and our earliest lay missioners were sent overseas. 19 years later, Maryknoll Lay Missioners became an independent association of the faithful, continuing in a remarkable tradition of accompaniment, solidarity, collaboration, lay leadership, and fidelity to mission. We've learned throughout this history that living in solidarity and mutual respect with peoples and cultures, with other peoples and cultures, really does transform us as individuals. We find spiritual growth on the sacred ground of the other. So we invite you now to listen to Liz Mach, a lay missioner who served from those earliest years through her retirement in 2020.
My name is Liz Mach, and I've been a Maryknoll lay missioner for the past 44 years, and I've just returned to the United States and am now a returned lay missioner. But I went to mission originally to be of service, to be able to help with my medical profession the best I could in Africa. I thought I went for 3 years, and God had other plans, and I ended up staying all these years. I was challenged to grow as a woman, as a lay missioner, as a Christian, and as a medical professional. I was able to work with moms and babies as a nurse, and I worked on gender-based violence issues and women's issues. Without the generosity of our donors, none of this would have been possible all these years. And that's the reason. Donors are our background. That's the reason we stay in mission. So many donors have answered the call to come and see. And they've come with our Friends Across Border program to Tanzania, and I've worked with many of them. And it's been wonderful. Their eyes and ears and hearts are open, and they realize how they can help out. And they go home and they talk to their families and they talk to their neighbors, and they get them involved also. They are truly spreading the good news. We have our social platforms, especially Facebook, and when we put out a need, we often get great responses from people, and they want to help. Our other media programs, the website, and some of our programs at Advent and Pentecost, people respond very well to. We were able in mission to work medically where we could save many lives. We worked to educate future leaders, and we worked for justice and peace. And we were able to instill these very important building blocks in other people. And that's what our campaign is all about. This ask that we're doing today, this is so important to me because it reaches out to the basics. It reaches out to recruitment, to training, and to maintenance, and keeping our people in the field. And as someone who has received so much and able to stay in the field for a long time, I just want to say, Asante ni sana. Thank you.
You know, Pope Francis is noted for encouraging all people to see the entirety of their lives as a mission. He's written, life does not have a mission, but is a mission. As I listened to Liz's reflection, Pope Francis's words seem to provide an apt description of all of us in the Maryknoll Lay Missioner family. Whether a missioner or a supporter of MKLM, God's mission propels our lives, and we discover that we are indeed a mission on this earth. Now, because of this rich family history, Maryknoll Lay Missioners stands as one of the largest lay Catholic sending organizations in the United States. We represent different backgrounds and life experiences. We're young adults, families with children, and retired folks. During our 46-year history, more than 900 individuals, including the children of our families, have been prepared and sent to 38 countries. Some missioners serve their entire adult lives, like Liz, while others stay for the initial commitment of 3.5 years and others in between. But rather remarkable, throughout our history, we estimate that over 120,000 lives have been impacted by the lay missioners, and we're now looking at a potential class of 15 to 20. We too have been impacted by all of those whose lives we've encountered. We believe that everyone has gifts to bring and gifts to receive from mission. That sense of mutuality and partnership is especially true in 5 core ministry areas reflecting our vision: education and leadership development, pastoral ministries, healthcare and health promotion, restorative justice and peace, and sustainable development. And even though the COVID-19 pandemic of the past year could have upended us, we maintained our commitment to mission and accompaniment. As we well know, the pandemic dramatically affected all of our lives, but that's especially true for our sisters and brothers who are already vulnerable due to poverty and inadequate access to health care. The majority of our lay missioners remained in their communities, even as other organizations pulled out. And when our lay missioners could no longer gather in their usual ministries, they adapted to respond to new needs and challenges brought about by the pandemic. As I listened to their stories and their reflections during the past year, I heard stories of Christ in our midst, while making and distributing meals or masks, in health clinics and prisons, whether online or in person. I invite you to listen to Joanne Blaney, who serves in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Joanne gives us a glimpse of the pandemic in Brazil and why she remained in mission.
Greetings from Sao Paulo, Brazil. In the Brazil region, I and all the other missioners remained in mission during the COVID-19 pandemic for various reasons. Our faith motivates us to continue our commitment to our ministries, as well as solidarity and accompaniment of the people in our neighborhoods and communities. Unfortunately, Brazil has suffered greatly with the pandemic, as many of you may know. Almost 14 million people are living in extreme poverty. The near collapse of the health system has caused incredible stress and anxiety affecting those in our ministries. And there has been a dramatic increase in domestic and urban violence. We've been able to adapt some of our ministries online, whether in education, integral health, retreats, ecology, or restorative justice. One of the benefits from our online ministries is that folks all over Brazil, as well as in other countries, participate in many of our courses and workshops. We recognize that many do not have virtual access, and all of us have contributed to food baskets and basic hygiene products. Some of us serve meals to those living on the street or provide opportunities for unemployed women to make masks. Without the support of donors, we would not be able to be here in mission. Donors help us with housing, transportation costs, language training, and healthcare. I have seen the effects of donor support in the strengthening of faith communities and sustenance of our ministries, working to change unjust structures and build bridges of dialogue. We've been able to train leaders in various parts of Brazil to help groups deal with conflicts and heal those victimized by trauma and crime. Like the parable of the mustard seed, the smallest of seeds that is practically invisible, but grows into a beautiful tree with branches extending in many directions, we work to create a network of solidarity. Thanks to your generosity, all of this is possible. We deeply appreciate the impact that you have on our ministries through various types of support: prayer, financial, and moral support. Know that you are present with us in mission and in our prayers. Together, may we continue to work to bring about a more compassionate and just world. May God's love continue to motivate and inspire all of us. And may God's blessings be with you, our donors, now and in the future.
As we gradually emerge from this pandemic, our missioners continue to put their faith into action, very inspiring to me, and live out our core values, despite the huge challenges now in each of the communities where we live and work. The pandemic has taught us that we must be prepared for seismic global change. So now is the time for us to really reflect on the future of mission. We live in very challenging times in which we face many issues, including globalization, climate change, mass migration, increasing violence, increasing division of peoples, and an ever-changing universal and U.S. Catholic Church. But most importantly, we must try to deeply understand the concrete lived reality of our brothers and sisters who are living on the margins of society. I'm reminded of a beautiful analogy that a West African priest used several years ago. He was trying to explain to me what it means to be understood by a person of another culture. He asked me, have you ever tried to explain to somebody who's never tasted a banana what a banana tastes like? Well, you might say, bananas are so tasty and sweet. And the other person might respond, oh, they taste like sugar. And you might respond, well, you say, no, not really. They're kind of smooth and creamy and sweet. Ah, he or she says, so they taste kind of like more like honey. And this can go on and on and on as you try and fail to describe what a banana tastes like to somebody who's never tasted it. But then one day you meet someone who's also tasted a banana, and you no longer have to explain. You both just know. Is that not what we hope for as missioners? To try to get an authentic taste of what another person or another culture's lived experience is. As we move into the future in a very divided world, we must listen, and we must really taste like never before. How can we better journey with the migrant and the displaced? How can we be agents of restorative justice and nonviolence in a world that sorely needs both? How can we become communities that fully embrace diversity? How do we continue to shift from a model of charity, doing things for others, to a model of solidarity where we work on problems together, problems that face us all as a global community? And of course, how can we do a better job of listening to the young? Clearly, the questions and challenges before us are daunting. Answering them are going to require us to be open to new visions, new voices in the conversation, and new approaches to mission. Let's listen to one of our youngest lay missioners, Kylene Fremling, who serves in Cambodia, about why Maryknoll Lay Missioners continues to be part of her future.
Hi, my name is Kylene, and I'm a lay missionary in Cambodia. I first came to Maryknoll because I was drawn to their approach to mission. It is mission focused, centered on the communities that we serve. There's recognition that we are the foreigner. So, from the very beginning, we learn the language, which allows us to connect and build relationships. We study the culture and the history to give us a better context of the communities that we are going to serve. And I am remaining in mission because over the last 3.5 years, I have seen the power of sustained presence. As we work to build a more just and compassionate world, change takes time, especially at an institutional level. I have been able to work with Cambodians who are committed and passionate about the work that we do. And given the access to resources, we are able to create more accessible and inclusive environments for marginalized communities. There was a time in Cambodia's history where People with disabilities weren't able to be teachers. And now most of our teaching staff, some of our regular staff, and even our principal have disabilities. And I think this is important because at La we aim to impact in two ways. One is that we meet all of our students' material needs. And second, we create a sense of belonging and community. And I can't think of a better way to live out the gospel.
Kylene reminds us of the power of encounter and accompaniment. It's at the heart of her commitment to live the gospel. God accompanies us in Christ that we may know love, mercy, and justice. And through our lives as mission, God invites us to accompany others so that others may know the companionship of God and that we may know it more deeply with them. What then does it mean to accompany each other today, in today's world? How does that evolve our understanding of mission? There's much to think about, and that's exactly what we are doing. It's an exciting time for Maryknoll missioners. Currently, we are in a year-long process of reflection and discernment that will better prepare us for mission in the 21st century. And under the leadership of Marge, many of our lay missioners began meeting virtually in April in what we call an expanded mission assembly. And they will continue to do so through early next year, grappling with the questions that we've just shared and other matters important to the organization. As we do so, we're giving focus to a few strategic priorities with anticipation of a new 5-year plan by this time next year. Specifically, we aim to strengthen our response to urgent needs such as migration, climate change, food insecurity, racism, human rights abuses, and others. We will deepen our commitment to anti-racism and strive to foster a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which we also hope increases and diversifies our lay missioner presence. Mutuality characterizes our relationships, which we hope to deepen with the communities who welcome us and to better include them in our visioning and decision-making processes. Alongside that, we hope to expand and strengthen our partnerships both here and abroad. And as we do so, we're seeking new ways to build the capacity of local partners so that they can better care for their own communities and expand that partnership through education and leadership development in particular. We intend to broaden both our recruitment and mission education strategies. And finally, we seek to enhance the formation, support, and retention of lay missioners through improved language and cross-cultural training and increased opportunities for ongoing spiritual, professional, and vocational development. And we recognize that we cannot do this alone. We cannot do this without you. All of you, our extended missioner family, our donors, are an extension of all of us. It can be said that some of us give by going to mission, some of us go to mission by giving. As we envision mission in this 21st century, we invite you to continue to share this journey with us. We hope you will walk with us in a very special way. I'm going to turn it back to Leslie Lopez, the Director of Mission Advancement, who will tell you a little more about how this might be possible.
Thank you, Marge and Ted, for your inspiring words. And thank you for those powerful testimonies from our missioners, Liz, Joanne, and Kylene. The call to mission is real. Everyone is called. Every person's response is different. Some are called to go into mission. Some are called to support mission. And it's together where we are making a difference around the world. We're making a difference for generations to come. That's the good news. Sharing God's love, that's the good news. The challenge is, as Ted mentioned, having the capacity to effectively respond to global needs. Our challenge is funding the capacity to effectively respond to the needs around the world. Therein lies our challenge, funding our capacity and growth. The number one request from our lay missioners during COVID was, keep us here in mission. I'm just getting chills thinking about it. Keep us here in mission. The second was send more missioners. These two reasons and requests are two of many for our timely and ambitious campaign to sustain our lay missioners, our active current lay missioners, and to recruit, train, and send more lay missioners. A loyal supporter once told me, and I quote, "God is with us. If the goal is worthy, it is achievable. If the goal is worthy, it is achievable." And this is why we are joyfully announcing our Walk With Us campaign, the Bill Boss Initiative. The goal is worthy, it is achievable. The Walk With Us campaign is a multi-million-dollar matching campaign. Our goal is to raise $3 million in 2 phases. In the first phase, a core group of benefactors have pledged gifts towards a base of $1 million. In phase 2, which we are in now, we are asking you, our loyal supporters, to help match the base gifts by raising another $2 million for a total of $3 million. The campaign timeline extends to next year, to the end of next year, 2022. If the goal is worthy, it is achievable. We are excited to share that as of the end of May last month in phase 2, we have already raised $230,000, which leaves us another $1,770,000 to raise by the end of 2022. We prayerfully ask for your help to reach our goal. It is important for you to know that 100% of your contributions to the Walk With Us campaign will be used to recruit, train, and sustain the well-being of missioners in mission, 100% of your contributions to the campaign. This campaign use of funds chart was prepared along with our Director of Operations and Finance. As you see, there is a lot involved in recruiting, training, and maintaining the well-being of our missioners. The annual cost to keep active missioners in their host country alone is $29,000 per missioner per year. Think about it. The lay missioners, each lay missioner touch the lives of thousands of individuals and families in their communities they serve. Our financial contributions are a worthy investment supporting missioners who are at the margins, working for a more just, compassionate, sustainable world in Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Our investments benefit the livelihood of many generations of individuals and families for many generations to come. I want to share an experience. I want to share a story that underlines the many generations to come. Kylene, our missioner, who works with disabled youth in Cambodia, mentioned in her presentation about the principal who is disabled at the school where she works in Cambodia. This is Sarah Nam, the principal at Lavala School in Cambodia. I met and had the grand opportunity to interview Sir Nam in 2019, pre-COVID, while traveling to Asia with Ted Miles. Saranam was overjoyed to tell her story. She was taught by Maryknoll missioners back in the early 1990s. She was taught the English then, and she is sharing her gifts and what she learned with students today at Lavallee School. This is truly an example of sharing God's love. This is truly an example of transforming lives for generations to come. It's like the continuum of care or continuum of mission, touching lives and making a difference. What a blessing. Our journey continues. Our journey continues. I'd like to introduce Mike Robb. Mike is a faithful supporter through the years. He has witnessed our ministries firsthand, and he is an active board member. Mike has been instrumental in the development of the Walk With Us campaign. We've asked Mike to share a few remarks about his experience with Maryknoll Lay Missioner over the years, and to share with you the importance of the Walk With Us campaign. Mike.
Thanks, Leslie. I was introduced to Maryknoll through my uncle, who was a Maryknoll priest. But the reason I've stayed involved with Maryknoll Lay Missioners for all these years is I've seen firsthand the impact that we've had on so many lives. I've been fortunate enough to visit a number of our missions. I've been to El Salvador, to Bolivia, Cambodia, and in one really special trip in 2009, I went to Africa, and Father Bill Voss was our guide. Father Bill was a missioner there for over 20 years, so it was great to have him tell us all his stories. He told us mission stories. He told us hunting stories. I think some of them were probably even true. And we got to visit, and Father Bill, upon coming back to the United States, he was the president of the board of directors for 11 years, and he still travels around the United States raising money for Maryknoll Lay Missioners. So when Frank Johnson came up with the idea of starting a capital campaign to honor Bill Voss, we thought it was an outstanding idea as a way to honor Father Bill and also to help Maryknoll Lay Missioners. I'll quickly touch upon a few of the missions we visited in East Africa. We saw missions such as the John Bosco School, where Russ Bryans served 150 Turkan orphans. Russ is now serving in Cambodia. We visited a community hospital run by Dr. Susan Nagley, a recently retired Maryknoll Lay Missioner who served her whole life in East Africa. We visited a community-based healthcare and AIDS organization where Coralise Salvador worked. Coralise is now working in El Paso. We saw a school for the handicapped run by Maryknoll Lay Missioner Bertha Haas. And as Kylene touched upon in her talk, it's the same in Africa with the people with disabilities. They were often a source of shame for their families. In worst case, and even in good cases, there's a sense of hopelessness with the families that there's nothing that can be done to help these people. And so they very often spend their whole lives inside their house. And so when the missioners have these schools, it's not only helping the people with the disabilities, it's helping their families, and it's helping remove the stigma in the community. And so I think that's one of the things that is important to remember is that each missioner is touching hundreds, if not thousands of lives when they're over there in their respective countries working. So this is a great investment. I mean, where else can you make such an investment that has such a great impact on so many people? So I'd like to go over quickly a few of the ways we have to give. If you can bring that slide up, please, Sonny. You can make a one-time cash donation. You can do electronic transfers. And also, I'd like to emphasize that you can make a pledge and pay your gift over 3 years. So, if you'd like to make a generous gift, but you can't afford to do it all at once, that's still great. We'll be happy to take your pledge. Something else that's really good thing to do right now is a stock transfer. If you've got stocks that have appreciated, you can donate the stock at its current value and get a tax deduction for the whole value, and you do not have to pay the capital gains tax on the amount that is increased. Another way that you can give is through a donor advised fund that allows you to make a donation and take the deduction and then pay out of that fund when you see fit. So there's plenty of ways to give. And I'd like to thank you for partnering with us on the Walk with Us campaign. So the idea of this campaign is to go above what your current annually giving. This is hopefully in addition to. And so after the presentation, I'd like for you to look for a letter in the mail, and you'll receive a copy of the brochure that explains it. And it'll also include a reflection from Father Bill Voss. And following the letter, someone from Maryknoll Lay Missioners will be reaching out to you to either via phone or email to hopefully get a pledge or a donation for you. So back to you, Leslie.
I am Jillian Foster. I work at the Jean-Marie Vincent Agricultural Center in Gros-Morne, Haiti. We are currently planning a soil renewal and water retention project on one of the mountains. Please walk with us. S'il vous plaît, marchez avec nous.
My name is Melissa Altman, and I'm serving at Acamujersa Cooperative in Zaragoza, El Salvador. We are currently working on a bracelet making program where young people have an opportunity to earn a little bit of an income. Please walk with us. Por favor, camina con nosotros.
My name is Rich and I run the Hope Project in Mombasa, Kenya. We provide educational assistance to vulnerable children, especially orphans and those affected by HIV. Please walk with us. Tafadhali tembeni na sisi.
Wow. As we close, I'd like to give a special thanks to Father Bill and Mike for your accompaniment of us through this campaign. And I would be remiss if I did not thank Leslie for her leadership in developing this initiative. Leslie's been with us for nearly 3 years and brings a wealth of experience in development. She truly believes in our mission, our missioners, and our mission communities, and has been working tirelessly ever since, and most especially in this pandemic year where it has been trying. So thank you, Leslie, for your leadership that you bring to Maryknoll Lay Missioners. And once again, to all of you for listening today, thank you. On behalf of all of our lay missioners, past and present, thank you for taking the journey with us, for walking with us. And we look forward to the continued walking together as we all strive for a world marked by God's mercy, love, and justice. Know you are in our prayers, and we ask that you keep all of us in yours. From the 9 countries where we currently serve, mil gracias, asante sana, obrigado, Nesi Ampil Arkun Chran Hatur Nahun. Thank you.